Hello and welcome to You're Wrong About Musicals. I'm Esme,
And I'm now.
and today we are going to be talking about Disney's Newsies. But before we get to talking about Newsies,
I've got an update.
we've got some things to say at the
So the
start.
thing is, for everyone listening, and we do now know that people are listening, because this is
Thank
the
you.
first episode. Yeah, this is the first episode we're recording after we started uploading them, which is really weird.
So yeah, we recorded the first 4 episodes over like 3 weeks. I want to say
Yeah,
something
3 weeks.
like that.
Yeah,
And
and then
then
I went away for 2 weeks, and then we had another week off because neither of us could be bothered to do this.
no, we've been busy. That's what we've been doing.
Very busy.
Anyway, no.
Anyways,
Nell's been in Japan, and I've actually been quite busy. I cut all my
what
hair.
have you been doing?
Taylor Swift announced 1989 TV. That's been busy.
I bought her. It was her birthday recently.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
saying happy
it was
birthday
also my
to Esme
birthday.
because it was her birthday recently.
It was my
And
birthday on Monday.
I bought her two things, both of which she loved equally. I can promise you.
I was
The-
buzzing about both of them.
It wasn't the first thing I got her, but it was the better thing I got her. I got her a Taylor Swift Reputation Tour t-shirt. And I am saying that one here because I want to brag about it. It's a very good gift.
Actually my prized possession. I wore it just to the shop around the corner, and some girl stopped me and was like, "Oh my god, like I love your t-shirt," and I was like, "Thank you," and then I wore it out.
Thank you. My friend went out in a typhoon to get it for me.
Anyway.
And then the second thing I got her, which you could argue she loved even more, I would
Sure.
certainly say she loved it even more, was 2 tickets for the literal back row of the theatre to see Love Never Dies in concert on closing night.
It was open for 2 nights.
Yeah, closing night is generous. There were 3 performances and 2 of them were the day before.
Where we came face to face with arch enemy slash idol of the podcast.
Andrew Lloyd Webber, he
Webber.
was there. I was such a big fan. Esme has a video of me, and I'm not letting her release it because you can just hear me screaming in it.
Because I was like, this would be good to release on socials. And then I reviewed the footage, and in the background is now going, "This is the best day of my life."
It really was.
It was the day after my birthday.
No, when I was running, when people started screaming that he was there, and I ran along the road to see, you could not see him from anywhere on our road.
Okay, that was on purpose because he's scared of us.
He was avoiding us.
He was avoiding us. Anyway, what else?
I never actually told you how I found out that he was there.
People and it just started cheering.
Yeah, and I was like, is it a celebrity? And I was trying to figure, and I had a suspicion it was him. But then some girl ran back up to her friends because she was at like the front of the balcony, and she ran back up
and she was like, "It's Andrew."
No, worse.
What was it? I just remember someone going, "It's Andrew," and people like,
someone said it was Andrew, but the one that I heard just the guy, Webber, I think. He's there, he's in the box with someone, and I was like, "You're kidding." And that was it. And I was like, it's Andrew Lloyd Webber.
And then he made a speech, and we have it on video.
Yeah,
and it was kind of rubbish. And then he hugged Gustav.
I think Gustav was incredible.
Gustav was the real star of the show, actually.
Did you see him as Gavroche? Who did you see as Gavroche?
I don't know. I don't get programmed.
It genuinely pisses me off when Esme sees shows without me and doesn't get a program. I can't figure out who she saw.
Oh yeah, and then I saw Les Mis the next day. No, I used to be a bit of a Les Mis hater. I've since seen the error of my ways and have listened to nothing but Les Mis since I saw it on Wednesday. It is now Friday.
It's pretty good. Maybe it deserves all those awards and shit.
And then yesterday, around this time, exactly 24 hours ago, if you'd listened to our Dear Evan Hansen episode, you will know.
She saw Next to Normal and had a breakdown.
See, I was joking about it being a breakdown, and then it started, and throughout the overture and halfway through the opening number, I was tearing up because I was like, "Oh my god, I'm seeing Next to Normal, one of my favorite musicals of all time. I can't believe I'm seeing Next to Normal." And then I just started crying because I love the show and it's so depressing. Amazing performances all around. Casey Levy was amazing as Diana. Eleanor Worthington Cox, who was an original Matilda, she was amazing. That's why we've not been recording. But also, we'd like just to say, actually, sincerely, thank you for listening.
It's this is the first time we're recording, and we can't make the joke of no one's going to hear this anyway. Because people actually are listening to it.
It's genuinely insane that the fact that us talking rubbish about musicals in our homes in West London is being listened to
It's fun. We've got
around the
like
world.
plans of what we're gonna do. Like when we're gonna release stuff now, it's fun.
Yeah, we've got
Disney's Newsies.
Disney's Newsies. So Disney's Newsies is based on a 1992 movie musical with music by Alan Menken and Jack Feynman, choreographed by Kenny Ortega, the guy from High School Musical.
Yes. I have actually seen this movie. I watched it like twice.
I
It's called
listened
Newsboys in the UK.
I listened to a bit of it and I could have watched it on Disney Plus, but like, it was just too traumatic.
I didn't even I watched it before Disney Plus was like a thing, if I remember correctly. You're probably gonna hear me talk about this a lot. My first ever like internet friends were because of Newsies. So basically everything that I know about Newsies is related to them. And it was because they watched it while I was asleep because they're all American. And they were like, you should watch this. And so I found it and I was like, it's called Newsboys over here. I watched it twice on like Sky. I think I bought it on Sky Store to
Yeah, I was
watch.
like, how the fuck did you watch it then? Because
I
couldn't
found that I had
watch
to find
it.
it.
But the original movie was kind of a box office flop, with it only having a
Mm.
budget of 15 million and made 2 million in the box office and was not released in cinemas overseas. It starred Christian Bale.
It's not great.
It starred Christian Bale, and it like kind of achieved cult status with people being like, "This feels weird, but I love it."
I guess because Christian Bale's like famous now.
Yeah, this is like right before he became massively famous. So it was like, if you want to be underground and cool, you can watch Newsies.
Yeah, he's not a great singer or dancer in it.
It was such a flop that Elle Keels, who played Sarah, Les and Davies' sister, who was like the Catherine standard. So Catherine's not.
Yeah, she
not a
was just
character.
a love interest.
She
didn't really have a
literally
character.
just the love interest.
She didn't have a character like Catherine does.
Catherine has a reason to be hanging out with the Newsies.
Yeah, Catherine has her whole own arc.
Yeah.
Sarah, from what I remember, we meet because she's setting the table for dinner at their house, and that we
Jack
kind of
goes over
only
for
see her
dinner.
there. Yeah.
I know that.
Then he sings Santa Fe.
Yeah, it's like the second song. She alleges she got mailed this, like, this is a direct quote. I got mailed this, like, phone book of horrible reviews, including some personal attack type of reviews. On all of the horrific reviews from Newsies in the mail from someone at Disney. That's what she alleges. Her co-star, Harvey Lowe Jr., who played the Newsy Boots, told Insider he too received copies of Newsies reviews in the mail from Disney and was sent them nearly every week.
It's just like, why?
That's
it's not their
so
fault.
Unhinged.
Yeah, it's not their fault.
Like,
they did a pretty good job.
Like, you pay Boots the Newsy, and like, okay, it's a paycheck. I get to do what I love for a living.
You get to do a little dance, sing a little song,
and then all of a sudden you
get told by this like multi-million company that you're losing their money or some shit.
And then a billion-dollar company starts bullying you by sending you bad reviews of the movie that they made.
You're shit. You're ruining our image. Like, trust me, no one saw Newsies. It doesn't matter.
Alan Menken's writing partner, Howard Ashman, with whom he created the music for Disney classics like The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, was too sick to work on Newsies. Jack Feldman ended up being the writer.
It's quite tragic.
It was quite a turbulent time for Menken. And also the cultural time wasn't really receptive to Newsies.
No.
A live action musical where they break into song and dance. And so that was Newsies the movie. Kind of a flop. No one cared. The origins of the musical. Small theatre troupes and schools and camps were transcribing their own scripts from the movie and learning it for free. Amateur productions were performed for years until Disney stepped in to create a basic script that could be licensed. But before they could do that, they had to do like a pilot production to be like, here's how Newsies should look. Because Disney care about one thing, and it is money.
Which is clearly why they kept sending bad reviews. Like, you're not making us fucking money.
Not making us enough money. I'm not going to get into the insane politics of Disney theatricals in this episode. No, that's a different episode in its entirety. But that's
we're getting a friend on, and he's
going to get
about it with the Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid episode might have to be an extended cut because I don't think we're going to slow him down.
So we've got the one
He's gonna listen to this. He's gonna listen to this.
He's not listened so much. He's not listened so far. He's listened to half an episode.
I'm gonna like
That's
offhandedly mention we talk about him in this one. He's gonna listen to it.
We found the one guy who is very passionate. His like favorite musical is The Little Mermaid on Broadway. We know him. So Disney stepped in and they said the stage adaptation had been developed for licensing to theatre group, and its paper mill run was only intended to be a pilot production for that market. It was the single most requested Disney title of a Disney film that had not been yet adapted to the stage. And so they're like, we can make money out of this. Why don't we?
It's just that is kind of crazy to me that it was such a flop as a film that they just wanted it as a stage show so bad. It was always meant to be a stage show. It works so much better.
So good as a stage show. Anyway, the show had lyrics by Alan Menken and Jack Feldman, again coming back from the movie, with a script by Harvey Fierstein, who he did Hairspray.
Yeah, I feel like I know him from somewhere.
He did Hairspray. He's a funny guy. Cast was many people that would transfer to the Broadway one, with Jeremy Jordan as Jack.
My God.
Cara Lindsay as Catherine. The new character that replaced the Sarah character from the original movie, and Andrew Keenan Bolger as Crutchy.
Oh my God.
I'm not listing all of them.
Star-studded cast.
I'm not listing all of them because we would be here for 10 hours. See that? Mike Feist was also there. Movie star Mike Feist. Yeah. So it's meant to have a limited run playing from the 15th of March till the 10th of June. There were changes made at points that aren't well documented, but one that I did find is that Andrew Keenan Bolger used to come on and play a newsie with one eye for like the second act while Crutchy was in the refuge.
Can I say something about this real quick? So I did just want to say, and this is very vague in my memory, and I cannot pull up, without a lot of searching, I cannot reason. I don't remember where it was, but credited somewhere, Andrew Keenan Bolger was credited as 2 characters in Newsies, which was Crutchy and a second cat with like a random name.
York. Was it York?
It wasn't York.
Interesting.
It was a completely different name. And somehow this got back to him, and he was I believe he had a Tumblr at some point. I might be making that up.
He's always been very active on social media, much to us.
Yeah, he's an influencer now. I remember that. Yeah, he was credited to someone else, and he literally responded. He was like, "I have no fucking idea who that is. I've never played a character called that. That's not a character in Newsies." I just remember it being batshit insane. I was like, it might have been when he was doing the Broadway.com vlogs for it.
Yeah.
It might have been like on a website around there. That just made me think of it, because he's been credited as 2 Newsies before. It's kind of weird.
After the sold out paper mill run, it moved to the Nederlander Theatre for a limited run again. So small run, but yeah. They were hesitant to bring Newsies to Broadway because they like to have like 2 shows open at the same time.
Yeah.
Like Disney are like, unless they're like 2 bona fide successes, like ones that they can leave running.
Yeah, like Frozen right now.
No, like they had Frozen, Lion King, and Aladdin on at the same time because they were all kind of like ticking over by themselves. So, but at the time, it was only Mary Poppins and The Lion King, and Mary Poppins wasn't doing very well.
I feel like Mary Poppins is only ever good for like a month.
No, it's good in the UK because even though like the New Amsterdam, important to know, is a Disney owned theatre.
Yeah,
they bought it. Again, not going to get into it in this episode because it's a fascinating old history. So it went into the Nederlander. And all of the press around it was saying like, oh, Disney have already got 2 shows open. There were questions about whether or not Jeremy would transfer with it because
he was in a wildly successful show at the time.
He was having so much success with I mean, we're all aware of the blockbuster that was.
We're all aware with all 13 pixels. The blockbuster musical, Bonnie and Clyde,
starring Jeremy Jordan and Laura Austin. So there was a lot of back and forth about whether or not he would come back. And there was also the thing of, will Disney let him?
Yeah.
He was being fairly positive. They're all saying, it's good. Like, it's a good musical. There is no reason why this isn't, like, it is bare bones, it is a good production, with Variety saying, certainly the production has overtones of Oliver and Annie, with a dollop of Les Mis in the strike sequences, all of which turn out to be big positives. High spirits go a long way, countering several weaknesses of the evening, as some will no doubt carp about simplified plotting and too early scenes that take too much time and pay off too little. Which I would say is like very fair criticism. Like, it is saying it is a very good musical. It has issues in the script, but that's not why you go.
Yeah, like I think there's a lot of the plot that even now I still feel like kind of drags a bit. But I still think that Newsies is, having seen it twice now.
Haven't seen Newsies twice.
I've seen it more than twice. Actually, I can talk about this because I paid 10 quid for the pro shot.
No, we've
so
seen both productions legally.
Legally, so because I would never do anything illegally. I would never watch,
never watch
a musical legally. That would be so wrong. But no, the production's good. Both productions are good. The plot is fine. It drags a bit, but all musicals do, I find.
Yeah. The Holly Reporters say you can call the show battlefully formulaic, sentimental, or simplistic, but Newsy adheres to the time-honored Disney tradition of inspirational storytelling in the best possible sense, and it works. It's a good musical, and it's not doing anything revolutionary, but it's fun.
Yeah, I think the thing about the what was it, Disney thing?
Yeah,
like it
Disney.
Being every time we watch it, we keep talking about this. It is such a weird plot line for Disney to put out.
We will get into it at the end because with the
funny
climate of the entertainment industry, especially.
Support the SAG-AFTRA strikes. Support the strikes. They're in the right. Strike, strike, strike.
As Jack Kelly once said, strike, strike, strike.
Strike, 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 strike.
And if you need to dance and intimidate some people to do so, then go ahead.
If they started dancing outside the studios, we could have this strike over in a week. Actually, we couldn't. That's a joke. You should support the strikers no matter what. No matter even if how long this goes on for, support them. Anyway. Exactly. Anyways, back to Newsies, a Disney musical or whatever the fuck it's called.
Disney's Newsies. As it says on the front of your program, the New York Times said it lacked any real substance behind the flashy headlines, all set in extra large type, all goal posted with exclamation points, exclaiming essentially the same thing. He added that over exuberance spilled over to the aerobic dance numbers, enough raw vitality to command attention and even stir blood. They would if they knew when to quit. I commend the cast members for always appearing excited for what they're doing. Unfortunately, that's not the same as being exciting. And Ben Brantley, you are wrong. The dancing makes the show.
I was nearly choked on a piece of pasta coming back to say this. That's wrong. That's stupid.
The New York Times are often a little bit off the money, though.
Stick to making Wordle or whatever it is you do these days.
Also, Ben Brantley's known for being a bit of an arsehole.
Okay, I'm good. I can do the synopsis now. Based on the 1992 Disney film, Newsies is a tale of newsboy Jack Kelly who dreams of a better life far from the hardship of the streets. When Joseph Pulitzer and William Randolph Hearst raise distribution prices, Jack finds a cause to fight for and rallies his army of newsies to strike. That hits all the points.
Yeah. I don't really get the William.
To be fair, that is the plot of Newsies. I mean, I guess.
William Randolph Hearst is not important though.
No, he's mentioned once.
But Pulitzer is the enemy of the show.
Yeah. Hearst is mentioned once when they're like, oh, we'll go to this newspaper instead and say, no, that was raised too. Maybe in a song. Maybe in the world.
It took us so long to work out what the world will know means.
Guys, I don't know if you know this. I'm probably no, but the world will know. It took us an embarrassingly long time to realize that it's not saying. Well, it is saying that the world, the whole wide world, the earth, will know. But it's a play on words because the newspaper they work for is called The World. And so they're saying the newspaper we work for and the whole earth will know that we don't agree with this because we're going to strike. Newsies!
I think it's very, I've had a complicated history of it because my first introduction to it was the song Seize the Day, which I had to sing for something.
Which every single kind of preteen to teen who did musical theatre You've danced to it. You sung it. I
I've sung
did
it.
it too.
I've sung
I've
it and
sung
I
it. I've danced
hated
to it.
it. And then we just had to keep singing it. And I was just like, before I discovered the love of it. And it took a lot of convincing from you to be like, no, it's actually good. Get over your hatred of Seas today. Listen to the rest of it. And I listened to the rest of it. I was like, oh, fuck, this sounds like,
It's so good.
what more can I say than it is a great musical from like the numbers in it? Like, I mean, we'll get to the West End. It's not even fucking West End. The Wembley run.
It's not. It's hardly London.
It's in Wembley.
It's Wembley.
Wembley. It's a pain in the ass to get to. Yeah, it's just a good musical. The songs are good. It's got everything you want. It's got comedic moments. It's got a romantic subplot. It's got strikes. It's got boys dancing. Like, what more in life could you ask for?
It's great.
Yeah. The score's amazing. The set during Once and For All. So basically my favourite song
I cried.
is Once and For All. And you know, in the pro shoot, when they are all like, when it's like it's building, and it's right before they go to the final chorus. Yes, exactly that. And they're all standing on the set, and then it starts moving forward, and the final chorus starts.
I have a confession. I actually didn't cry at that point in Newsies. I cried. I didn't. I cried at a worse point. I cried at Brooklyn's here. When we saw it live, I cried at.
No.
Both times. When I saw the pro shoot, I cried at Brooklyn's here.
Because we will
and
talk
when we
about,
saw it live,
we will talk
I cried
about
at Brooklyn's here
when we saw it live. When we talk about the Wembley run.
Yeah, because I cried about it for two different reasons. But when I saw the pro shoot, the reason I cried is because it's so sad. Like Jack is alone and he's like sleeping on the printing press, and you're like, oh my god, how's he gonna win the strike? And he had and you're like, oh my god, it's the boys from Brooklyn. And I started crying there. I was like, oh my god,
it was
when
the set started moving. I was like, oh my god, this is just so good. My one like issue with it though is how anticlimactic the finale is.
I don't think it is.
Well, no, because the actual finale of the recording is just like, we won. But when you see it in person, you're like, yes.
No, it's literally the same. They have a little dance break at the end.
Yeah, but you that doesn't translate well to a recording, but that's just.
Yeah, you just get some banging music.
Yeah. The music's very good. I really like Watch What Happens. I feel like it's a very fun and upbeat.
I think the thing is Cara Lindsay just does it so perfectly.
It's Cara Lindsay's song.
It's Cara Lindsay.
It's her song.
But
like,
yeah.
I love King of New York as well. Santa Fe as an Act 1 closer, I feel like is amazing.
Yes. And King of New York as an opener. Oh my god.
Oh, Carrying the Banner, great song as well.
I don't know.
It just really introduces you to the world of Newsies. I don't know what people are meant to say about it. I do prefer The World Will Know over Seize the Day still to this day because I'm a Seize the Day hater.
I agree on that.
However, it is a great time, such fun. I don't know what else to really say about it. I don't have any criticism.
I wish Letter from the Refuge was on a streaming platform.
Yeah, I don't get why they've never done that. What else was I gonna say? I love the tap dancing. It's fun.
Yes.
It's like it is just a good old wholesome time.
I think the dancing is really helped by having a graduate of Abby Lee Dance Company.
We're gonna get to Abby Lee Miller's thought. I've got direct quotes about Abby Lee Miller's thoughts on.
Well, she has a newsie. She has a
newsie, but then she also gave an interview to Broadway.com about Newsies. We're not going to talk too much about Abby Lee Miller because I will never shut up about Abby Lee Miller if given the opportunity. So,
we love Abby Lee Miller.
Tony Awards and the success. So it was nominated for 8 Tony Awards 2012 season. I can't say dates today.
2012.
2012. New year I've invented. 2012 season being Best Musical, Best Book, Best Performance of a Leading Actor for Jeremy Jordan, Best Direction of a Musical,
obviously.
Best Choreography, Best Original Score, Best Orchestrations, Best Scenic Design, and 1, 2 being Best Choreography for Krista Catelli and Best Original Score for Alan Menken and Jack Feldman.
I feel the thing is, no one else was going to win choreography.
No, it is offensive.
Newsies, no one else is winning choreography.
No. And important note, people have speculated that the reason why they gave Jeremy Jordan a Tony nomination was also for his role of Clyde, because they were in the same season. Because Laura Osnes was nominated for Bonnie and Clyde, and Jeremy was just like nominated for Newsies, which was almost like a 2-in-1 of like, because you know how the Tonys just sometimes like will give people the award because they've nominated them enough times. It's like, here's a lifetime award. It was
Jeremy's
kind.
never got.
He's
Am
never
I
won.
right thinking he hasn't? Yeah, he really deserves to.
I'm campaigning for Gatsby, but this isn't Gatsby time.
He's got enough teen girls on his side to finally win a Tony.
I don't think they're the Tony committee. Like,
I feel like it should have a part in the
I
process.
feel like teen girls. Then Aaron Tveit would have 10 million Tonys. He only has one because he was the only guy nominated in 2020.
That's true. That was quite fun.
That was what I'm like. It was a really dark time for theatre, and then I'd sit around and think about the fact that Aaron Tveit was the only one nominated for the Tony, and it would make me lose my mind.
I kind of wish he'd lost because that would have been hilarious. Like somehow he just didn't. No, here's the thing. Jeremy Jordan, he needs a Tony. He's 5'8". I'll say that quietly. But he's 5'8". I think he needs a Tony to make up for that.
So the interesting fun fact: Alan Menken, who has won more Oscars than any other living person, was awarded his first Tony for Newsies.
Epic.
Which I think is really nice, and especially since the score for Newsies got the Razzie for worst song. To then go back and get the Tony.
Which one? Which song?
I don't know.
I have to know now. I'm so interested in what the Razzies have to say
about Newsies, especially.
Yeah.
He was nominated 3 times before Newsies, with Beauty and the Beast in 1994, The Little Mermaid in 2004, and Sister Act in 2011. What song was it?
High Times, Hard Times, which is the Meadow Larkin song that was replaced by
That's Rich.
One. Yeah.
That's Rich is a very fun song. I enjoy it.
I love That's Rich. It's so fun.
It's just a good, fun time.
Apparently he found out while he was winning his Oscars.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it says he found out he won a Razzie for the worst song of the year while accepting 2 Oscars. Kind of a win.
That. Alan Menken says it surprised everyone. Number 1, the quality of what we did, and 2, the success of it when talking about Newsies. Because I feel like he feels very protective over it. It's like that's his baby because of how wrong it is, and I feel like he is more involved in Newsies as a musical than he is his other musicals. I don't know. That could just be me and my perception of it because I follow Newsies more than any other Disney musical. It extended its run further, and it was meant to close in August of 2013, I believe, but extended a week before the Tonys. It became an open-ended run due to high sales. Finally, the fact that it wasn't automatically an open-ended run is ridiculous. And I saw somewhere that it it recouped its initial investment by December of 2012, which is insane. Less than a year after it started its performances, and I saw how much it cost to invest and cost to put on. Less than Be More Chill, I believe. Yeah, 5 million.
Christ.
Be More Chill cost 9 million.
I feel like 5 million is even on the low end considering they're set.
5 million is so low, and Disney have money.
I would say considering the actors too, but I feel like Jeremy Jordan wasn't at the same height of stardom he's at now.
That man's a nobody. Respectfully,
hey,
he was at the time.
I'll talk about Clyde Barrow from a hit musical Bonnie and Clyde like that. What the hell had he even been in at that point apart from Bonnie and Clyde?
I think he had been cover Tony in West Side Story.
I literally just I went to search up his name, and the first thing that came up was Jeremy Jordan, Democrat, for when we were checking if he was. Because we didn't want him to also be a Republican like so many others. His Broadway debut in 2009 as a part of Rock of Ages.
Oh.
But then he did Bonnie and Clyde, and then Newsies. And then West Side Story, and Waitress, and American Son, and Little Shop. And the last 5 years, the film, and then Smash. And then Supergirl.
We will talk about Smash in a moment.
I love Smash.
I've seen all of Smash, unfortunately.
I haven't. which
It's pretty bad, but I love it. It's like
I know I like two of the songs. I keep listening to them.
it's like Glee, but for theatre kids.
I just realized this one hasn't listed his best achievement.
What?
Well, obviously that he was Varian in Tangled the series on the Disney Channel.
Okay. You love that.
And he had one great song, which everyone loves.
Okay. So Disney's Newsies was the 5th Broadway musical to turn a profit. The others being Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, Aida, and Mary Poppins. 2 of them didn't, being Tarzan and The Little Mermaid, which were critical and commercial disappointments. All I'm going to say on The Little Mermaid front is that it was not a critical or commercial disappointment in the heart of Toby, who is our dear friend.
We're gonna name drop him now. Toby, big fan of Toby. He loves The Little Mermaid. And carrying on.
Jeremy Jordan did not stay in the show for very long, I feel, because he had to go do Smash.
Yeah. I think he was in it for like maybe a year, maybe
he was
less.
in it for like under a year because they had Corey Cott be his alternate.
God's sake.
And I'm going to talk about Smash for a second. Okay, so there's this really weird thing that happens in Smash in the 2nd season.
Oh, I know exactly what this is about. I actually know exactly what this is
They
about.
film in New York and in Times Square a lot because it's all about Broadway. And you can watch, like, it's interesting because you can place exactly when it is based on the posters in the background. And so at the start of season 2, it is Bonnie and Clyde posters in the background. And then it changes over to Newsies posters in the background. And then Jeremy Jordan starts appearing. And there's like, he'll be doing like an intense scene with like him and Karen Cartwright. His character's name's just Jimmy. They'll be like screaming about something. And then in the background, you'll just see his face like photoshopped onto a Newsie.
I love that. So
and then the poster changes and he starts showing up in the show more.
Yeah. It's quite funny.
You can just like see the progression of Jeremy Jordan, like from being so far in the background into the show. Anyway, if you've not already watched Smash, don't.
This is like you with Glee. I saw someone say that Riverdale is the Gen Z version of Glee.
Yeah.
I'm really sad Riverdale ended.
I am as well. So, despite its insane ticket sales, it did close in 2014. So it only lasted 2 years. But
to be fair, I do want to say that they did this. I actually remember reading stuff about this, that it was actually a great both a good and bad financial decision because they basically closed it at the peak of its popularity.
Yeah.
And then I believe they immediately, maybe it was a break, but they put it on tour quite quickly.
So they closed
went on tour for a while.
Charles Schumacher, who is enemy #1 to a lot of Newsies fans, because he is president of Disney Theatrical, he said, "From our first performance, we are humbled by the spontaneous and genuine outpouring of affection from our fans and theatre community alike." Basically saying the fans are the reason that it's gotten this far, but it was closed to make room for Aladdin, because Poppins had closed by that point. And then they put it on tour like a month afterwards.
Yeah, I do remember it went on tour quite quickly. I do not remember what the set was for the tour.
I think it was the same.
I feel like it was slightly different because they had to move the big ass moving bit around, like scaffolding. So I feel like that was I have some vague memory of it being downgraded, but not by a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean, I looked at a lot of photos of it the other day and they all look the same to me.
Yeah.
It closed and then the tour was launched and they added the Letter to the Refuge.
Best song in the show. That's actually a lie completely. It's a good song.
Alan Menken said Crutchy as a character would never be self-pitying. He's not used to writing letters, so that defined the pace and the tone of the song. It's a tentative, emotional but guarded, with a sense of false bravado and tenderness underneath. For other songs in the show, for instance, I wanted to give Carrying the Banner a honky-tonk feel and seize the day a military sound. But this one is just music of the heart. I wanted to keep it quiet and tender.
So that's why it's not on any recordings then.
Yeah, because it was added for the tour.
Yeah.
Because there was a cast recording and it did get nominated for the Grammy.
It's a great cast recording.
I mean,
I feel like
don't they even do that
that
thing of like showing like the sounds of the tap in the recording during like King of
yeah,
New
there's an
York?
extended cut. So yeah, no, in the original song there's a little bit. And
Mm.
then there's an extended cut of that and Seize the Day, which has the full dance breaks for both.
And that's really good. Again, if you were like,
Yeah, and a piano version of Santa Fe.
yeah, when Jeremy Jordan's going from the top.
From the top!
Again, like releasing the full dance tracks for it is again being like youth groups use it.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to talk about your favorite thing?
I had a vivid memory of this, and I was talking to Esme about it, and she could not find it anywhere. Luckily, in the first 5 minutes of us starting this call, and she told me I could not find it anywhere, I found it. On the tour, they lost a Newsie. This is basically, and I vividly remember this, I only have one tweet to back it up. I cannot find the rest of them.
You like did it in full memory to me. You've explained it to me multiple times in full memory
Yeah,
for you to ever like make it up.
there were, if I remember this correctly, there were two Newsies tour buses for the whole cast. There might have been one, but I feel like there were two.
There's a lot
And
of them.
there is a lot of them, so I feel like it was two. But so they stopped off at a gas station to get snacks for the road for their long trip between cities where they were spreading the strike gospel.
Propaganda.
I don't fucking know. Yeah, probably. I feel like you can't have strike and propaganda together. Doesn't feel right.
Agenda.
Agenda is good. Yeah. And they stopped off, and this one newsie got off the bus, and it's kind of unclear what happened in my memory. At least he either went to get snacks or he went to the toilet. And when he came back out, the buses were gone. And I assume he did also like text his friends and be like, guys. But he also took to Twitter. And so my one tweet is from Zachary Sale, I believe you would say his name.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a tweet from the 28th of September, 2014. And it reads, 13 minutes out, still no sign of bus. Rations are running low. Hashtag abandoned by Newsies, which was the hashtag used to document this. But if you go on it, basically everything is gone from it. So I don't know where it went.
I mean, let's blame Elon Musk because I do remember
Probably.
seeing those tweets at some point. So they did live on for a bit, unfortunately.
And then Joshua Burridge, who I do remember was also in Newsy on the tour, said, ha 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 ha, bus driver just took a wrong exit. We are coming. This was documented that they left.
Well, yeah, because it was the age of just tweeting at your friends like you were
Yeah,
texting.
it was 2014. But
Yeah, I mean,
I vividly
when I was
remember this
trying to find it,
happening.
I found a Tumblr account which was just like dedicated to posting any time a newsie on tour breathed, and it was just so
Oh,
fun,
yeah.
like just scrolling through and like seeing all of like the way that everyone used to use social media. It was just so fun.
I
Anthony
really enjoyed it.
Rosenthal
I do remember this.
played a newsie.
Yeah, it
Played
was
Les
Les.
on tour. I just like was scrolling and like I saw someone be like, I got Anthony Rosenthal as a Les today. Because they had multiple Leses.
They had like, how many did they have on tour? Because I think they had 4 for the like stationary productions.
I think they probably had about the same
Did
for
they
the
have
tour.
in Wembley? Because I
Like,
feel like they didn't have to
4.
get that. Yeah.
Anthony Rosenthal was in Newsies before, and someone just like very casually tweeted about like, why am I holding my socks? About like seeing him as a newsie, and I was like, oh my god! Like 2 years
Yeah.
later, and everyone would have lost their goddamn mind over seeing the kid from Falsettos in Newsies. But
Yeah.
I mean, that post is just really indicative of the culture that we are going to talk about in literally a second around Newsies.
Love Newsies and it being a trailblazer.
Because don't worry, like you must be like, you're missing a massive part of the Newsies story. We know.
We know that so much happened with Newsies. It was only like properly open for like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
It was insane. It felt like those 2 years went on for like 20.
Yeah. Anyway, when they were in Albuquerque, New Mexico, they live streamed Santa Fe, and like on Facebook, just because that's where they had their like biggest like pull. That's where they have the most followers. And so like, let's live stream it there because they weren't going to Santa
Yeah.
Fe. And so they were like, let's just live stream it from New Mexico because it's basically the same thing. Again ran for 2 years with its final stop in October of 2016. Again with Thomas Schumacher. I like the fact that with every like big new Disney announcement, they always have to roll out like the president of Disney Theatricals to give a statement. We are enormously grateful for our fans, those self-proclaimed fansies whose passion for, in all caps,
Not the fucking fansies. Not the fucking fansies.
Before there were Hamiltons or Hamiltrash, there were fansies.
Oh, I was a fansy.
Oh, yeah. His passion for Newsies in all caps propelled the show into a Tony Award-winning Broadway run and then a record-breaking tour. That enthusiasm remains palpable as Newsies, again in all caps, is the most requested Disney title among regional theatres, community theatres, high schools in North America. I am delighted that life of this classic underdog tale will continue to reach new audiences. They like said that they were closing the tour and then they were like, rights are available. So they gave it to like big regional theatres to go do. And then it was nice to see Newsies finally complete its aim on such a high and almost like having a life. He just loves Newsies. That's why Wolf is barking so much.
He loves Newsies.
He's like, yes, let me cause some havoc to the system. Broadway.com vlog time.
Oh my god, I love the Broadway.com vlogs.
So
hi, my name's Andrew Keenan Bolger, and I play Clutchy in Disney's
he
Newsies.
didn't actually do the vlog for the show.
Yeah, he did a backstage tour.
He did a backstage tour that was very memed. So the video that comes from his backstage vlog, as you said, of post-show rituals, and it has 7
post and pre.
Yeah, no, pre-show rituals. Sorry.
Okay.
That has
734,000 views.
And that has the poor guy's head is spinning in it.
Iconic. I have this very hard passage in the show, so I like to warm up by doing it.
And then he goes.
And then he just does it with increasingly weird riffs, while Andrew Keenan Bolger looks tired beside him.
Yeah, looks so like, oh my god, I see this every single day. And it spawned YouTube videos.
You wouldn't believe it, but they're pretty good actors.
Yeah. It spawned YouTube videos like the poor guy's head is spinning 8,000 times and it is 6 hours long.
I'm gonna be so real. I'm pretty sure I've watched this.
Oh, well, I remember. I was just like did it from memory. I was like, I know that this exists.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't find the one that I was remembering because there were like multiple versions of it.
Yeah.
This one is of him in the recording studio doing it, but I knew that there was one of him in the dressing room doing it. I couldn't find the one of him in the dressing room.
I feel like it's the kind of thing that would be deleted.
Yeah, it's such like a weird oddity.
Yeah. I think it's the thing. I don't know what poor guy's head is spinning became such a phrase that if you were to look for a bootleg, and we would never do this, obviously, because we would never watch an illegal bootleg.
We're law-abiding citizens that don't like stealing from Disney.
Absolutely, we would never watch a bootleg. But if you if you wanted to look up one, like back in Newsies peak, it would usually be called, and I wouldn't know this, it would usually be called something. Street kids make the poor guy's head spin. I feel like that is like an exact title, and I probably shouldn't have said the exact title.
Well, the pro shoot out there now. So.
Watch the pro shoot. It's on Disney Plus. Is it on Disney Plus? I feel like it is.
Oh my god,
it's on Netflix in the US.
My little sister watched it in school, and she came home and she was like, "You like Newsies?" And I'm like, "I love Newsies." And she's like, "I watched it in drama class," and I was like, "Oh my god, I never got to watch Newsies in drama class." And she's like, "Yeah,
we watched Peter Pan."
We watched Peter Pan. It was a shitty production of Peter Pan.
Where the guy playing Peter was like 40 and the girl playing Wendy was like 17. Hence Pedo Pan.
I know. I had my Mean Girls playbill in front of me because we were talking about Ben Tyler Kirk.
Who I literally looked it up more. He was 16 when he started the tour.
Yeah, and now I was like, what else did he do? And I was like, I could check that right now. So I got out the playbill.
I did literally look him up on Wikipedia.
Oh, well.
He made his Broadway debut at 11 years old in Ragtime.
I love Ragtime. He would make a good little boy, actually. That's the name of the character.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Edgar, the little boy.
I just flicked it open to a page and here's a Be More Chill ad. Vintage! So then there was a full-on Broadway vlog, Broadway.com vlog with Corey Cott called King of New York. And it got every episode got upwards of 100K views,
Yeah.
which I
It
feel
was
like,
popular.
yeah, it's pretty impressive. Because
This is the thing,
especially it was
I
early.
really,
It wasn't like a
yeah,
Hamilton or a Dear Evan Hansen. It was
yeah.
like it was one of the first really big ones. It was up with we have to talk about her again. Laura Osmus's blog.
Laura Osnes was iconic for her blogs.
I wish she would.
Unfortunately, she was really good. I still rewatch that Bandstand one sometimes. It's pretty
Yeah,
good.
because that's the only bandstand content.
There's nothing else.
No, because she did her Cinderella vlog. That was like a big deal. And then I think it was
Yeah.
Corey Cott's Newsies vlog. But Newsies has always had a very dedicated online fan base.
I feel like Newsies really set the tone for like social media and online fans. Because like you'd only had them before, but it would be mostly the fans would be the ones at the shows.
Yes.
Whereas this fan base was mainly made up of people who weren't at the shows. And it was
Yeah.
a big deal when one of them did get to go.
Yeah. But they would still, but again, you'd still have like those people who would go an insane amount of times keeping ticket sales alive. But they did
Yeah.
really come see it. Like, look how great this is. We're amazing. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was also unhinged because why wouldn't it be? I mean, people came up with like backstories for the most random newsies. We see like 5 times. They're like, that's my favorite.
This actually
newsie.
does. This is the thing that I didn't realize had continued onto like into today and with the Wembley production. Like, there was this big thing where, and I know we're going to talk about the pro shoot properly in a second.
Mm.
It was even with bootlegs. People would like point to like some grainy newsie in the back row. I'd be like, "This is my favorite newsie ever. His name is Splungus, and he's in it for 2 minutes, and he's my favorite." His backstory is that his mother abandoned him because she had too many. I'm like, how the fuck do you know this?
Like, if you were to ask someone else and they do happen to know about it, they can say the exact same thing.
It's the one thing I saw this TikTok really recently. I think I sent it to Esme. And there was this girl who was like, "Oh, it's a filter, and it will give you what newsie you are, and then you say a line from that newsie." And they came up with like Elma, and I was like, "I know that Elma is a newsie. How the fuck does someone remember what Elma's line is?"
Does Elma have a
For
line in, like,
reference,
King of New York or some shit?
it's I believe, if I remember correctly, that in carrying the banner, when the nuns ask, it is him because I just remember they say his name. They say, "Elma, when are we going to see you inside the church?" And he says, "I don't know, sister, but it's bound to rain sooner or later." That's him. That's Elma. And that's like his only line in the show. I feel like
Isn't
that's my
like
favorite.
one just named Specs because he has glasses?
Yeah. Specs is the one with glasses. Race.
Race.
We won't talk about why Race is named Race.
No, Racetrack Higgins.
He's a real guy.
He's a real newsie. I have quotes on him.
Spot Conlon is apparently real.
Spot Conlon is real.
I know that there's Albert.
Yes.
There's a genuine
Quick,
part of me
name
that is
5
like,
newsies. Are you a real newsie fan or are you a fake newsie fan?
Spot,
Name 5.
Race. Albert. Elma.
Yeah.
Specs.
Well done. I mean, whenever
I'm actually. Do you know what? I used to do this thing with. If you go on AO3, and bear with me on this, and you go into the Newsies tag, and then you go to characters, you will see the most batshit names. And I want to read these out to you because these are again the top names. Like, these are the ones who are getting the most things written about them.
Yeah, like it's again, it's never the most obvious choice of like Jack, Davey, Crutchy, Catherine.
We have I forget how stupid some of these are. Right now, oh, I'll read you this one because this has literally a list of just all of their names.
Yeah.
Jack Kelly, Crutchy, Racetrack Higgins, Henry,
Yeah.
Albert De Silva, Elma, Specs, Kid Blink, Mush, Finch, Splasher, Buttons, Jojo, Mike, Ike, Romeo, Smalls, Tommy Boy, Sniper, Sarah Jacobs, Les Jacobs, David Jacobs, Snyder, Spot Conlon, Raphael, I don't actually know how to say that name, but that is a real name. I'll leave you a barked for a second.
Okay.
York, Vince, Joey, Hildy, Myron. Those are all apparently real newsies in the musical.
That checks out because you know whenever we would see it and they get to that point, is it Seize the Day? Or is it the world will
Yeah,
know? Where they
no,
just start naming Newsies. We have to like really
it's
focus on keeping
it's
it
actually
together.
the worst point. It's not in the Broadway version. It is. I don't think it's in the Broadway version.
No,
I'm
I
not
remember it.
misremembering
Because the
this.
first time it happened, I was like,
I've like blacked it out.
they would just come to the front and go, say the name. Say the name.
They get into a little triangle formation.
Yeah.
Jack's at the front. He goes, Jack. So they're like,
It's like how they
Gee,
became.
baby, Les, this.
And as it kept going.
We've seen it twice now live, and every time we have to look away because we genuinely stop losing it. It's the worst point in the show.
We love
the
Newsies.
thing is,
like,
it would be fine if it went on for maybe like 10 seconds
if it was
where
just like,
where it went in
if they
quick
were doing it like
succession.
overlap or something. But no, it was like every
If it was
Newsie
like,
has to come to the
Hey,
front.
gee, let's like it's one by one. It takes like a minute. Because Jack, pause, Davy,
Because they all have to think about whether they're
Les,
pledging their allegiance to the
Grace.
Newsboys strike.
It's great for acting. You know, you really get a feel for these like background characters and you understand their motives. But you have to listen to like 50 other people do it first. I love Newsies. It's a great show. Jesus Christ.
Also, the Delancey brothers,
Mike Feist,
who was famously once Mike Feist.
The Delancey brothers for Mike Feist. That's really a role you take.
Like Mike Feist is like on the top of Mike Feist's like resume.
Which one was he? Was he both?
Yeah, he did actually both of them at the same time. We just didn't notice.
Yeah. Morris Delancey.
Who's Morris Delancey?
He was born in Ohio.
What do you have against Ohio?
Oh, I feel like it's a weird place.
Glee said Ohio.
Yeah, that checks out.
Due to like the sustained success of Newsies, they're like, oh, we should probably like do something more permanent for this. They gave it the pro shot.
Most iconic pro shot in history.
Which would shoot in the Pantages Theatre in New York, not New York, LA, sorry, which I think is quite big. Like, yeah, stuff goes down there. When Newsies would stop on tour in late August / early September of 2016, I believe, Jeremy Jordan would reprise his role along with Cara Lindsay as Catherine Plummer, John Dossett as Joseph Plummer, then Frank Hauser as Davy.
Frank Hauser, there's no R in there.
Okay, I'm pronouncing everyone's name wrong. Andrew Kinney Bolger as Crutchy and Louis Grosto. And
so, are there two Leses in the pro shoot?
Well, I think that they have to like have. I think the rule is for every child that you have like on stage, you have to have another one ready to go. So they both get credited as Les.
Very good.
And especially if it was over multiple performances.
And it's very it's very sad, but it's also very fortunate that Tuck Everlasting closed before this because like the guys playing Grace and Crutchy were both in Tuck.
Yeah, and one was the alternate for one.
Yeah. So yeah, it was I feel like I'm misremembering this, but he was the understudy, not the alternate. Ben Cook was the understudy for Jesse Tuck.
Yeah. But they don't. Do you think Tuck Everlasting had another guy who knew Jesse?
Me. They called me at any given point.
It was filmed before an invited live audience. They got the diehards to come, which I think is the best way to do any pro shot. It didn't come out for a full year. They released it in cinemas. We're only in 630 select cinemas. And it took like a year to come out. And then it was like put on to streaming.
Because I remember I actually got hit. I made a Tumblr post about this, and then someone like shouted at me in the comments of it. But I was like, I think that more shows should. I don't think I even really watched Star Kid at this time, but they should do what Star Kid do and like live stream their shows.
Yeah.
Like if I could pay like 10 quid like I did to buy the Newsies pro shoot, then like I feel like a lot of people would do that.
No, that's the thing. Like
fucking dumb.
I dropped money on it. Not my own money, but money.
It was my own money.
I just went,
that
Dad.
shit came from my bank.
I just went, Dad, I'm buying
Newsies. This guy in the comments was like, are you fucking stupid? Like, Newsies is on Netflix. And I was like, first of all, motherfucker. It's on Netflix in the US and the US only. I don't even have the money for a VPN right now to watch it.
It was just bad just to buy it and just have it.
Yeah, I still rewatch it sometimes. I might rewatch it tonight and I'll cry again.
No, I remember like watching it very vividly. But yeah, it was. I mean, I spent money on it.
This
I mean,
alleged Beetlejuice pro shot, I
oh
would
my
buy it.
god. I mean,
need to get
I was talking about renting or buying a pro shot the other day. Miss Saigon.
Yeah.
Me after seeing Les Mis, me and Martha, we do movie nights at uni. And I was like, and she was like, our first movie night back is gonna be Miss Saigon because I was like, there's a pro shot, so we're gonna like spend.
Yeah, I
money
remember
on
watching it with you in cinemas.
Yeah, like if a pro shot is available, I'm gonna buy it or like rent it.
Not on what's that fucking website called?
Oh, I hate Broadway HD.
Broadway. Fuck you, Broadway HD.
It's so
If you're
expensive.
listening to this, fuck you. It's like 300 quid and they have like 20 shows on there.
I think they've got more than that now. They've got more than that
Hey,
now, but it's still not worth it.
No, it used to be like insane for how many shows were on there.
Let me see. I think if you were like a school, like a musical theatre school.
Oh yeah.
Well, I've seen that live. Last 5 years.
If you were studying or teaching theatre or music, because this has a lot of plays on it too, by the way. If you were studying or teaching theatre or musical theatre,
it's not very good.
Yeah, but if you were studying or teaching musical theatre, I feel like it could be an investment.
Yeah, like I could see the school having it, or like my uni.
But I'm also thinking
I could see like my uni giving the drama students access to this.
Yeah,
like that kind of thing.
Something like the National.
The National
here in the UK. Yeah, I don't know if you actually have to pay for that or not.
No, the National. I know I personally have access to it because my uni has access to it. Anywho,
there are some good things on here, but it's nothing that's. Check how much the actual price is right now.
Okay, the price. Subscribe now.
If I was smitten by everything I just seen, $129.99 a year.
And like that's on par with Netflix, but Netflix has so many titles.
It's $11.99 a month.
Why is it advertising that it has falsettos?
I've heard Billy Elliot live.
It doesn't have Miss Saigon.
It's straight up lying.
Cats.
I'd actually do anything to watch Cats.
I've done Cats.
Play that goes right. It does not have Daddy Longlegs.
Where? I would watch that.
I love Daddy Longlegs. Anyways, it's such guys. This has all just been a big way to say don't get Broadway HD. It's not worth it at all.
Closing down that tab. It doesn't need to be in my life. Don't need it. Abby Lee Miller taught a Newsie. It's the greatest thing.
It's incredible. Okay,
I think about it every day. So she said, I loved it. Chris Catelli, the choreographer, is a great friend of mine, and shame on me for not seeing it sooner. I know most of the boys in the cast, and they're wonderful. I like my guys on stage to look like guys. If you can't point them feet, flex them, she said with a laugh. I could talk about Abby Lee Miller for hours, but I'm
a weirdo. I love her.
I'm not going to. Just so you know, I watched Dance Moms as a 9-year-old, and I have thought about it ever since. So Abby taught specifically the Newsie known as Specs. Specs in the pro shoot or Specs original Broadway cast? I don't know if he came back for the pro shot because it was a mashup of like the original cast and the touring cast. And there is like some questions around the historical accuracy where there is a newsboy named Blink on account of an absent eye. Crutchy Morris and Racetrack Higgins are real people, documented people. And there is a Spot Conlon who was known for being infamous in Brooklyn. In response to this, Harvey Fierstein says, but facts are not where the drama is. There was singing at the first Newsie rally where Hungry Joe Credder, newsboy mascot, sang a sad song about a one-legged newsie, and the strikers went shrieking into the streets, inebriated by their knowledge of their vital importance in the paper business. The strike went on for 2 weeks and shut down paper business. And the real Catherine died when she was 2 years old of pneumonia. Female Newsies have been around for ages.
Yeah. There was one of them in Brooklyn's here.
No, they were real female Newsies. I saw a picture of one of them.
Huh?
I saw a picture of a female Newsie. There was a picture of a female Newsie, like in this New York Times article that I was reading about Newsies being real. Just like they're not the central theme of it, 'cause it's just like boys dancing. Anyway,
Yeah, there's one because the women ensemble members in the Broadway production, so like the women who played the nuns and the Bowery Beauties,
Yeah,
are Newsies in Brooklyn's here. So one of them is the one who does and says the Bronx.
yeah.
Anyways,
Anyway,
apparently she taught Ryan Steele, but there's literally nothing mentioned about her on his Wikipedia.
yeah. I mean, I would want to distance myself from Abby Lee Miller if I were him.
He was also in Swing. It
Ah.
no, I was reading this. He attended an open call for the 2009 revival of West Side Story where he got the part, leading him to pursue the role of Baby John. He was in Newsies
Mm-hmm.
and he was the dance captain.
Oh wow.
And he left in February 2013 to be a part of the original cast of Matilda the Musical. What did you
Elle has
say?
a mortal enemy, and their name is Operation Mincemeat.
Yeah, currently at the Fortune Theatre.
Don't give them that promotion.
I'm gonna be so real. Anyone listening to this podcast, if you do have 89.50 to go and buy seats in the back row of the theatre, go. Because Esme, do you know how much we paid to go and see Love Never Dies in concert from the back row of the theatre? 30 quid. So if you
I
have
paid
90
I
quid,
paid a
I
tenner to
would
go
see it.
see my favorite musical of all time, and I mean,
Right, this could be a few things.
next to normal.
No, I was gonna be like, I don't think you paid that much to go see Les Mis.
No, I didn't pay anything to go see Les Mis. It was a present from Martha. Thank you, Martha. But no, also, it's been a week since I first saw Les Mis. I can't crown it my favorite musical of all time. Also, like I need to go revisit Miss Saigon as well.
Miss Saigon's good. I remember watching it with you.
I need to go revisit Miss Saigon and like compare and contrast. Anyway, so we're finally gonna tackle Zone, Foursies, or West End Newsies.
It's not in the West End.
It got nominated for Olivier Awards.
Not in the West End.
Well, that's what it's promoted.
It's really
as.
hard to
It was
write.
promoted as because basically, go back to the start of this production, how it came about. It was first said on the 21st of February 2022 that it would be opening in London with some like cryptic Twitter thing. Now it's fully just writing Zone 4. Anywho, and the reason why I know the exact date of Newsies being announced is because obviously I texted you about it. I found the messages from when we first thought, oh my god, Newsies is coming to London, because it never had a London run.
No, it never did. I remember this because my dance teacher taught us the choreography, like the proper choreography for Caesar Day, and was like, we're gonna learn this proper one. And they tried to do Newsies here, but they didn't have enough good dancers. So you have to be the next generation of Newsies.
And you were like, this is my life's purpose.
I was like, fuck, I need to do this.
And so the texts were very funny to see, because it was us freaking out that Newsies was finally coming to the UK, because I had kind of given up hope of a London run.
I see it.
And we originally thought it was going to go into a traditional West End house. Like, we didn't know that we'd be having to trek our asses out to Wembley
God.
to go and see it.
We complain about this a lot for the fact that we did it twice.
I go to Wembley for two reasons. Concerts at the stadium. Even then, I'm like, oh, it's a bit of a trek. But for Harry, I did. And for Taylor, I will gladly do it. And to go see Newsies. But it's just so inconvenient. That's my issue with it. It should not be that hard for us to get to Wembley. But it is.
No, it's like on a map. It basically looks like it's like next door to us.
Yeah, it's like a borough over.
Yeah, but because we don't drive, it takes us like an hour.
We thought it would go into a traditional West End house. We were like,
yeah,
what
we
house?
were thinking, what just closed? Because I remember something had just closed. And we were like, oh, it's gonna go there.
We didn't know when it was coming. They were just like coming soon. Anyway.
Yeah, but like something had closed. I think we said it was gonna go in the Lyric.
Yes, because the
like,
Bob Marley get out, stand up.
Yeah, we were like, this is going in the Lyric. Newsies is gonna be in the Lyric.
And it's like big enough to hold it. Because of like how we didn't know what the time frame would be. I said that I wanted to go see it on my birthday if it was playing.
Yeah.
Because again, we had no idea. Anywho,
which just passed, by the way. A reminder again, everyone say happy birthday to Esme.
When this is coming out, it would have been like 3 weeks.
A month. But
no,
you know,
3 weeks. This is coming out on the 11th. My birthday was on the 21st.
Esme's birthday is on the 21st.
You will know when it's Nell's birthday.
You will know when it's my birthday.
Don't worry, everyone will know when it is Nell's birthday. Less than a month later, we learned that it was going to the Troubadour Wembley Park Theatre, which is on an industrial estate in Zone 4. It was marketed as a reimagined production with a different choreographer and director, being Matt Cole. He said, as a huge fan of the original Disney film and the Broadway production, I am extremely honoured and thrilled to be reimagining this brand new version for London and the UK. This site-specific version of the show provides an exciting opportunity to present a piece in a non-traditional format. Set in the round, the audience will be thrust into the turn of the century New York, where action and choreography will weave its way in and out of the audience. I cannot wait to work with this talented creative team in delivering this wonderful and exciting show to the UK.
Honestly, everything they've said is kind of true. Like, it was very immersive. It was.
It was. Well, I mean,
it's not set in the round. It's a thrust.
It's a thrust stage.
So actually, everything they said is not true. It is not in the round. It's a thrust stage.
Reviews and reception, and then we'll talk about our experience of seeing Newsies.
Oh yes.
Most importantly, away from
the most important review.
What me and Nell think. Time Out gave it 4 stars. It's a story that feels massively relevant when half the UK is either on strike or wishing that it was. Yeah. But this is not a show of gritty social realism, sometimes jarring of the way it turns a true story into a Disney-fied escapism. It's a jolt to open the program and see the real-life strikers, 12-year-olds in tattered clothes, starving on New York streets. But it's also a reminder of why musicals inspired by real political struggle work so well, like Les Mis, like Kinky Boots. Newsies is the perfect example of how hard-working, synchronized cast can be a rousing metaphor for collective action of a more real-world kind, thrillingly embodying the change the world needs to see.
Yeah.
I find it very interesting, the political commentary that these reviews are almost providing alongside their review of Disney's Newsies.
Yeah. When did it actually open? Like the actual date?
Everyone was on strike and like energy prices were horrific, and so everyone was feeling down. And yeah, Newsies was probably a good show to go see if you were feeling.
I don't even think. I think it was just the insane timing of opening.
Yeah, no, I don't think
it when it was announced, that wasn't what was happening.
No.
But then when it opened, it was suddenly every single person was on strike for the exact same terms that the Newsies were on strike for.
Yeah, better pay.
And it was kind of crazy.
Working. Yeah,
it was kind of crazy.
What's on Stage did give it 5 stars. It's only 5-star review, which is deserved. And it's talking about the set. I love the Newsies set.
The set is so good.
Morgan Large's thrust stage design. So this says what it is: a thrust stage.
It's a thrust stage,
replete with gangways, large hanging glass windows, and more scaffolding than West Side Story's balcony scene. Conjure up a jungle gym auditorium. That is enthralling and immersive. There's enthralling and immersive, and you'll feel like you've been hosted by a rowdy bunch of scrappy, socially courageous kids from any angle. The sound quality, to some extent, sacrificed in favor of the spectacle. The trade-off feels largely worthwhile. So let's talk about.
I want to talk about the sound quality as well.
Yeah, let's talk about
the second time we saw it
of Newsies. Because
honestly, the first thing is both times we've seen it, I've really, really enjoyed it. Like I've loved it.
Both times I've walked out going, "Oh my god, that was amazing."
Yeah, but then immediately afterwards, I've seen another show that hasn't even I wouldn't necessarily say is significantly better. It's just taken up my focus more. So we first saw it in December 2022.
Newsies in December 2022 kind of did take up my attention for a while.
Well, so the problem was we saw it in December 2022 just before Christmas.
Because we were basically, the way we ended up getting tickets was we all obviously subscribed to the mailing list, but then just never got around to purchasing them in advance because they were a little bit too expensive. And I was like, I'm gonna wait for a sale to come. And then I saw that they were doing Rush. I was like, oh, we'll just do that. We were gonna go to Westfields.
We were going to Westfield to Christmas shopping, I think.
We were gonna go.
We left it quite late again.
Yeah. And then it was
we were waiting for the tube.
And I look down at my phone and I go, there's Newsies tickets available for tonight.
We're waiting on the platform for the tube to come, and I'm like, let's see Newsies tonight.
Let's
And
see
Esme's like,
Newsies
let's see Newsies tonight.
And
And she
so
buys
I
2 rush
buy
tickets for
rush
£25.
tickets, and we are then sat on the train, like going, "Oh my god, we're seeing Newsies tonight!"
We made a lot of jokes about big day for insufferable people because it was.
I put out a PSA on my spam Instagram account, being like, "PSA: Nell and I are seeing Newsies tonight."
I put out stuff on my public Twitter account being like, guys,
It is not hard
big
to find
day.
our public Twitter accounts.
No, don't follow. But no, so we saw it then just before Christmas, and then right after Christmas, I saw the Phantom of the Opera,
Oh my god, yes,
which
that's
immediately
it.
enthralled me.
Became a
and
thing of obsession for now.
Yeah.
In case you haven't noticed.
In case you haven't noticed, I really like the Phantom of the Opera. And I only saw it less than a year ago. But yeah, so that kind of took my attention away. And then we saw it again in
End of last
I
month?
want to say it was in June.
Yeah.
Because it was
No,
the week
July.
it was meant
It was
to
July.
It was like the week of or the week before it was meant to be closing.
Then yeah, for
Which
its
we'll
final
get to.
performance in London.
Which we'll get to. And we were like, we have to see it again. We saw it once in December and we both love Newsies. Like, we're insane about it. So let's go see it again. And I bought us these 2 tickets for the second row in Manhattan. We sat in Manhattan last time, but we were a bit
we were
further
in the
back.
Bronx.
We were in the Bronx. Manhattan's a different one.
Manhattan's the one like up.
The big one.
We were by the side.
Yeah, so the only problem we had, and I don't know why I'm saying that, well, I kind of know why I'm saying this. The only problem we had sitting in the Bronx was we couldn't see the chalkboard that the headlines were written on.
Yeah.
But we knew the plot well enough that it didn't
We
really
knew what they
matter.
were saying on the thing because we had watched the pro shoot so many times.
Yeah.
And it was a great place to sit because the Newsies would like interact with us.
Oh yeah, the first time we both got a spare Newsies banner, so we have 2 each.
We have 2 each.
Let's make us up one. Send direct your hate towards her because I kept both of mine in pristine condition.
One's in pristine condition, thank you.
The other one is cut up.
Yeah, it's on the back of one of my notebooks.
In pristine condition.
But
then immediately after we saw it the second time, do you know what we saw?
The next day we saw Groundhog Day.
We saw Groundhog Day, and I fell in love with Groundhog Day as well.
Trust me, she did.
I need you to know that this week, like, we have I'll do free promo for them. We have this app called Airbuds.
They're a really good app.
It's a really good app.
It's perfect for someone like me and Nell who genuinely like stalk each other on Spotify. This is just a more detailed version of that.
Yeah. And so it tells you what your friend is listening to, and then you can look at your own and their like basically weekly wraps. So it's quite fun. My one this week, first of all, it gives you 3 top artists every week. I only had 2, and they were Andrew Lloyd Webber and Andy Carl.
That's so much.
And my top 3 songs were a song from Groundhog Day, a song from Love Never Dies, and another song from Groundhog Day. So it's safe to say I love them both.
In Japan, she's like, I have an obsession with Groundhog Day, and I check Airbuds, and it's all she's listened to for like a solid day. I'm gonna
say that it's because the time I was on the train was basically we went on the trains in bursts.
Yeah,
it was basically constantly the perfect time to just listen to all of Groundhog Day in one sitting. Then I'd get off the train and get back on and listen to it again. And it was like one of the only. My Spotify, I don't know if I told you this. My Spotify kind of glitched that week, and like half of my music wasn't downloaded. And Groundhog Day was one of the only things that was downloaded.
Just so happened.
So I downloaded it like the day before we got on the plane. Well, I just kept listening to it.
Excuses. Anyway, continue.
So I feel like I love Newsies, and I will always say I love Newsies. Well, I feel like I've never given it the attention it deserves, because I just kept getting into other things immediately afterwards.
I was genuinely floored by the production, though. Because I mean, we were a bit like, yeah, it's Newsies. Like, we could just watch the pro shot for free, and then we started seeing the set. I saw one picture on Tumblr of all places that I showed to Esme, and I was like, Esme, this is the set. You like sent it to me when we need to go see this.
We need to go. And then we didn't go for a while.
No, because we were at uni.
We were both at uni.
No, and then we saw that the Newsies interacted with people. Like we saw the pre-show. We still saw it pretty early because it opened in November and we saw it in December.
Yeah. I just want to say we saw it for the first time, and we were like, "Oh my God, this is incredible!" And it was especially incredible because we had Newsies like in front of us and next to us.
Yes,
we were on the edge that time, weren't we? We were like
and like
next to the
around
aisle.
us. Yeah, and
So
also
we had them, yeah, right behind us and like to the side of us and
one
just walking
thing,
around us all the time.
like one thing that I will note, which was really sweet and different from the second time we were there, is it was a lot of people like our age and
Yeah.
our like because as we were waiting to go in, it was just a lot of people who you could tell that this meant a massive deal to them because they were so into it when they were like 15.
Yeah.
And it was a lot
very
of people.
nice.
Yeah, it was really sweet because it was a lot of people like with like one of their friends or like dragging their mum or their boyfriend to go see Newsies, and they
Yeah.
were so excited to be there because it had been such a long time coming.
Yeah. And I will say, I think, I don't remember which review it was, or if it was the announcement thing, where they were like, it was built for the location.
Yeah, it was the quote by the choreographer and director.
Yeah. But it really is. Like, I'm gonna give spoilers now.
Oh yeah, spoiler.
So,
It's closed. It's never
spoiler
coming back.
Well, unfortunately, we'll get to that. So there's this bit, we actually debated this because I'll admit it, I misremembered this.
Yeah.
There's a bit in the opening.
It's like the overture.
So you know how in the Broadway production, the pro shoot, there is the overture and then Santa Fe prologue, and nothing happens until after Santa Fe prologue. On this one, there is the overture, and it goes on for a bit. A multitude of things happen. The Newsies come around and try to sell you stuff.
Yes.
They'll be like, "Do you want a newspaper?
Do you want a paper?
Miss, for a pen, for a penny, the tape for a penny." I'll come around and talk to you, and they'll interact with each other. But the bit that starts it off, and that when it's like the first thing that probably happens on stage. You know, it's not. Race lights a cigar and looks at a newspaper, and then so imagine it's like that. The trumpet bit was like, but very like solemn, and he's looking at this paper, and he's like, he's smoking a cigarette. And then he yells for one of the fucking Newsies, I don't know their names, to come down. And I think, oh, okay, he's gonna climb down the set or something, or he's gonna, because there are walkways around like behind us. I'm thinking he's gonna come down from that. From the back of the theatre spotlight, I suddenly notice a wire running from this spot down to the stage. A Newsie zip lines across the audience to land on stage.
That was the moment I was like, oh, we're in for it.
And I thought, holy shit. This is Newsies.
This is Newsies, baby. Strap on in.
Newsies. And then they do a fun little thing. They come, yeah, like I said, they come around, they sell you stuff, and then they go to sleep. And then you watch Santa Fe prologue, and it's very good because all of the actors are incredible.
This one thing I will say is so good about the set is that the sight lines, even if they're running around on the set, you can still see through it.
Yeah.
So we were sat on the sides.
And I'm gonna say this isn't like, I'm not gonna do a playthrough of like every single scene that happens. But speaking of that stand, I could. I remember it well. But there's this bit. It's I don't fucking remember what bit it was actually that we realized it. But at one point, I believe it's Jack and Catherine are on top of the set. And this was the second time we saw it, and we were sat in the second row of the Bronx, which was incredible.
We could see it like physically.
Yeah. So there's this point where he holds up a picture of Santa Fe, and we could see the picture.
Yeah.
Like the actual picture, we were like, holy shit. And then they're talking or they're singing or something, and we could hear him singing and then the delay of it being projected around the theatre. And that was insane.
We could hear like the Newsies being told, just like make quiet conversation with yourselves. We could hear what they were saying.
Yeah. I think the highlight of that second trip was, I don't remember who it was, one of the Newsies in the finale, that little bit where they do the dance at the end, his paper bag fell off and landed in front of us.
And like the girl who was like in the front row like gave it back to him, and he was like, thank you.
I will say it was very fun watching this one Newsie either tell his friends or them all notice. And So just watching as it went across the stage, you could see them all looking at our direction.
Yeah.
Just see
But
this like paper bag on the floor.
I mean, the shock that like I felt the first time I saw Newsies like was insane because we didn't know what was gonna happen during King of New York.
Oh my God, it's insane. They start flying. They
My
fly.
like my mouth dropped.
They have like these, they're not
Because the act
chandeliers, but they're like lights.
light
And they come down and they hold
hanging
onto
light
them and like
fixtures.
swing around. And then
Yeah,
again, the second time we saw it from the second row, they were like
they
directly
were like
over us.
flying over us because the
Like I could have
first
touched their feet. It was insane.
yeah, you could
And I
have, but that would have
wouldn't
been a
because
health
I
and
value,
safety concern. You
and
value
also
the Newsies.
it would have been breaking the boundaries of those actors. So I wouldn't have done it anyways, but I could have, and that's what was fun about it.
That's no, because the first act is very faithful to the Broadway version.
Yeah,
It like it
I think
doesn't
the
do
only
anything epic. Like
I think the only thing I would say that it does do very differently is how it interacts with the audience. So in the
well, no,
Broadway
that's
version
just a
and the pro shoot,
change of staging.
yeah. But like that bit where they see Snyder for the first time, in
Mm,
Broadway and pro shoot, he runs through the set and like across the stage. In Zone Foursies, he runs through the audience. So he's like
mm.
running up next to you, and then he's climbing up a ladder to go behind you. Then he's going out an exit and then back on the other side.
Yeah.
And it's very cool.
And then the other moment where we were
I don't know if you guys remember. I said earlier in this episode that I cried at Brooklyn's Here when I watched the pro shoot. And then Esme was like, "You cried when you watched Brooklyn's Here live." And I said, "But for a different reason."
yes.
And in the pro shoot, there's no real reason I cried. I was just emotional because I was like, "Oh my God, they're gonna come and save him." And so imagine I'm already like, I know this is the bit I get emotional at whenever I'm watching Newsies.
You
We're
at the
there.
interval were going, I can't see Spot. Who's Spot?
No, this was the thing. We were looking, we're like, no one's listed a Spot in this program. I don't know who's going to play Spot Conlon. And the other thing was, when they are talking about trying to get the other Newsies on their side for the strike, someone talks about going to see Spot Conlon and trying to get Brooklyn on their side. And there is one line where it says, "Oh, you afraid of Spot Conlon and her Newsies?"
Yeah.
And I was like,
One thing I did say is during the interval, I was like, there aren't that many Newsies. How are they going to split them up for Brooklyn?
They did it. They made. I don't know if it was just the way it was staged and the interaction with the audience, but it felt like there were so many more.
It felt like
Newsies
there were
than
so
there
many
were.
more, and that was very much a credit to production. But I do remember saying how they're going to split them up to create this effect.
But so at the interval, we were looking through, and there is this one page in the program that has designs for the costumes, and they had one that was for Spot Conlon. And I was looking at it, I was like, Esme, that is a dress.
It's a dress.
I was like, Esme, I love theatre. I love gender expression in theatre. No man is wearing that dress. Spot Conlon's a fucking girl. And so we're like, oh my God, Spot Conlon's going to be a girl. This is going to be so good. Brooklyn's Here starts. We hear those little drum beats. We're like, oh my God, we're going to... I'm like, oh my God, we're going to see the female Spot Conlon and her gang of Newsies. And suddenly they start singing, and they're not in view yet, shall we say. And I hear them, and I think, that sounds
higher,
weirdly high pitched.
Yeah.
But, the Spot Conlon's mic must be very loud.
Yeah.
And they enter, not onto the stage, but through the entrances into the audience, so that they're all stood basically in this little gap between the
they're
seating.
Stood where basically everyone can see them. They're like on this raised bed, and they've each got spotlights on them. No, that's the start.
Yeah, or at least there's one big spotlight on that specific
They're
area.
running up the stairs.
Yeah, and we are looking at them and thinking, oh my God, all of the Brooklyn Newsies are girls.
No Newsies!
I started crying. I was like, they have girl Newsies. It's a big thing, because like Esme was saying, female Newsies have been a thing for a while. Like even in like reality back then, everything in the broader production and the pro shoot, there were female Newsies because
they weren't highlighted.
No, the women who play the nuns usually then play ensemble Newsies to fill out the space because again, there's never a lot of Newsies cast. They just have to make it feel like there is.
They just have to make them feel like there's 100 of them when there's only like 20.
Yeah. So we knew that probably there were going to be female Newsies in the ensemble because the women who play the nuns and the Bowery Beauties would then go in and
It'd be
be ensemble
stupid
Newsies.
not to use them.
Yeah. But all of those women then went on and did the Brooklyn Newsies. And they have a whole little dance to themselves. And they like walked in front of us. And one of them was very beautiful, and I had a crush on her, and I still do.
Was she the one that threw something at the?
Yep, she was the one who gave us Newsies Spanish. And it was this thing that the original lyrics for like Brooklyn Sarah
We're the
with the
boys from the beaches of
beaches of
Brighton.
Brighton, and then they go with the girls from the beaches of Brighton. I was like, you really are.
Like I love Once and For All. So the second that happened, I was like, oh my god, Once and For All is gonna be amazing, and it was.
I don't even think this is a real criticism or anything like that. The harmonies in the Broadway production and pro shoot kind of fall flat because they haven't got a very
They've not got a strong
extensive
female
higher range.
base, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's like this was probably like a Tumblr post, but it's in Watch What Happens Reprise.
Yeah.
Catherine carries the high harmony.
Yeah.
Like she has to do it all. And it's basically like that for every other song.
Yeah.
But in this one they actually had like enough people to do a proper harmony. It was
I
great.
really like the way that they did Once and For All. I like the little lanterns that they all had, and then they threw it all into the thing. And then they had the Newsies banner come up, and they all like ran through it. I don't remember.
Yeah, I knew they had a big version of it, and they might have pulled it down. They might have done something with it
because they were all like holding it, and then they all came to the front.
We have, of course, mentioned this before. The one downside of the Zone Foursies production is that bit in Seize the Day. Is it even Seize the Day, or is it the World
Seize
Will
the
Know?
Day, because World Will Know is like they're not really sure about it.
It's when they're trying to recruit the scabs.
Yeah.
And they just say all their names, and it's horrific. And I love the cast. The cast is incredible.
Well,
but Jesus Christ.
I felt bad for them because as well as like an actor, you just kind of got to get through that.
Yeah.
Just like here's my job. Anyway, so Newsies is amazing. It got our massive stamp of approval. We are massive fans of Zone 4.
Yeah.
Due to this, the run was extended further in February till July 30th, adding 3 months to its initial run, even though I can't lie, it was not selling amazingly.
Right, like the ticket. Okay, generally, I will say the tickets we got are already quite cheap when we got it through Rush. But I think that's because those first few months sold very well because, like you said, it was people who loved it. Like there was 5 years ago,
there was still tickets available at 1 p.m. when Rush opens at 10 though. Also, they were at TKTS from like their first week because I was at TKTS.
Yeah,
and my dad was like, "Why don't you go see Newsies?" I was like, "I can't go see Newsies about now."
Exactly.
It's a violation of our friendship.
But I think as well, it might be the thing that it like we just complained about for like 5 minutes. It was in Wembley.
And it also took a while to get established with a British audience. I think that's what it.
Yeah. And I want to say a big part of that was its social media presence.
We'll get to that in literally
specifically the 3 guys who are on TikTok Live every day.
We'll get to that in 2 seconds, but yeah, even though it wasn't selling amazingly, but that was actually the best thing that they could have done because they were like, "There's something here. We just need to give it more time," and I'm so happy that they did get that time in the end.
That first extension was great. It was exactly what it needed because it was like I think, and we haven't really talked about this musical yet, but like Beetlejuice. When Beetlejuice first flows because of the Music Man.
The Music Man, starring Hugh Jackman and Sam Foster.
Yes. Went into their theatre.
The Winter Garden,
their theatre. If it had closed then, it would have been a flop. Because it was somewhat successful, especially with like theatre people.
Yeah, it was I mean, we'll get into Beetlejuice is its own episode. Like, we're not going to talk about it now.
Beetlejuice, by the way. I fucking loved Beetlejuice. I still do. Lydia is still like one of my dream roles ever. I want to play Lydia.
I have seen it. It's amazing. But
I haven't. There's a rumored West End thing. Guys, please. Please.
I'd like to
I really want to see Beetlejuice.
I'd like to see it not be sleep deprived.
We might talk about the stage door at Newsies.
Anyway, moving on.
Fun stories about that.
They did go to the Olivier Awards. They were only got 1 nomination for Matt Coyle's Matt Cole's choreography, and he did win it, thank God, because
Obviously.
you cannot have Newsies nominated for a choreography award and not give it to it. That's like just
It's the
wrong.
same thing I said about like the Tonys.
Yeah.
Was it the Tonys?
Yeah, it was the Tonys. You were like, you can't not give it.
They were gonna win
award.
choreography no matter what.
They
I
did.
think they should have been nominated for more.
I
think they should have won more.
I think it should have been nominated for at least Best Musical.
Best Musical, I think Best Leading Actor, definitely. He was incredible.
And this
Michael.
is when I like a ensemble award.
Yeah, it's such an ensemble heavy show.
Like you could give one to Jack and Catherine, but that wouldn't feel right.
Yeah.
Because when I think of Newsies, I think of the Newsies.
The Newsies. I also want to say,
and the
as much as the continuous joke throughout this episode has been them listing their names off in season 2, I think that bit is what really cements it as an ensemble musical.
Yeah.
This is the fact that these Newsies, they're stood in a little triangle, as we've mentioned. They're stood in a little triangle, as we've mentioned.
Yeah.
And even the Newsies, like in the back center of that triangle, who can be seen by like barely anyone in the audience, they shout out a damn name.
They get their
They have a name.
Yes. That's when I would like the ensemble award, because they work so hard.
You know, if not an ensemble award isn't for the characters like race or spot or various other weirdly named characters in Newsies. I literally read out like the names of the characters earlier.
Yeah.
We could just say fucking Splasher or whoever.
Yeah.
It's for them.
Yeah. Anywho.
And I think it is very sad they didn't get more nominations and therefore they didn't get more wins, because they definitely deserved more than what they got. But they also really did deserve dog choreography.
They did win. I know they did perform as well, which is great exposure for them. They did. I watched it. It was very good. I watched it like in preparation for this. I did not watch like it live.
Yeah.
They performed Carrying the Banner. They did Brooklyn's Here, the female Newsies. I'm so glad that that's on video. And then I think they did like Seize the Day.
They must have done Seize the Day.
They must have done Seize the Day, or The World Will Know, or
one of those things.
One of the strike songs.
Did they have Les?
Yeah, I think so. Les was there. Because they have like 5 leses, and so they can just use. That's why they have 5, so they can use them for these performances.
Yeah, because I know they then had like an extra day off that week, which is entirely fair to them. Like that's
they deserve
heavy amount to do.
That's an insane amount of dancing to do. But I looked at all the comments, and they were saying one of 2 things. Oh my God, there's female Newsies, or I love McKenny. McKenny?
Oh my, yeah.
McKenny Nowles. That's how you say his name.
Yeah.
He did like a thing of him like slating and saying his name a bunch of times. So I'm pretty sure that's how you do it.
I'm gonna be so real. I love him. I've like every time a video of him has come up, I've watched it. I do not like seek him out to watch.
I do not engage with that content. Like I don't seek it out to engage it, but I'm aware that it's happening.
But then none of this had really happened that much, or it hadn't gotten big when we saw it the first time.
Yeah.
But the second time, he did definitely draw my eye. I don't know if it was just because I knew who he was then, and I was like, oh, that's the fella from TikTok. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
But I definitely noticed him more.
I think it might have been you've spent some time looking at him on TikTok.
Yeah.
His TikTok presence is a lot larger than I thought it was. So I knew he did the live, but I thought that they were just for like the fish kids. I didn't think it had like gone beyond that. So his most viewed video is him doing that I Can't Take My Eyes Off of You trend, you know, that little dance from Just Dance.
Yeah, is that the one where he has the 2 other guys with him?
He has like the entire Newsies with him, yeah.
Because I know there was one, which it might not have been that one, but it was him and 2 of the other Newsies, I believe. I know that there are 3 M's, and he's one of them, because I saw a TikTok account that was like a fan account for the 3 M's of UKZs. And so I know that there's 3 of them. I just don't know who they are.
Okay. No.
So sorry, because I love Newsies, but I don't know who they are.
No, it's like this is the kids' Newsies. I'm gonna let you do that. I'm like for this to engage in this detail.
I'm a theatre critic.
I have critical thoughts.
Yeah. I've
No.
matured from
So
when I
that
first saw
video
Newsies.
of him doing "I Can't Take My Eyes Off of You" has 16.7 million views.
You're kidding. He's famous.
He
That's
has
London represent.
he
I
has
don't actually know if he's from London, but
I think he is.
represent Zone 4. That what 16 million is insane.
60 million is insane. His 158k followers on TikTok, with many of his videos getting close to 1 million views, often when they are connected to Newsies.
Yeah.
He would often.
But the thing I was saying earlier was I know he did a dance thing with two other guys,
Yeah.
which then went at least across the I don't I wouldn't nearly said the rest of, but it went across the West End.
Yes.
And it was like just groups of three people, usually ensemble members from different shows, just creating a chain of this dance, and it was very nice to see. But I would just
Yeah.
get it like occasional updates, like I'd be scrolling and I'd be like, oh, okay, I don't know, freaking Phantom. I don't actually think Phantom ever did it. I'd be like, oh, SpongeBob did it,
Yeah.
probably. So and so did it, so and so did it. And I'd be like, oh, that's so cute. That's fun. I've seen these shows.
Yeah. No, it's cute. It's fun. It's harmless fun. It harms nobody. He did used to go live all the time, and I'd see replays of it.
Yeah.
I don't want to know how much money that man was probably making in gifts.
I think you should do an NPC live stream. I'd watch that.
I mean, fair enough. It's obviously like a good gig. Go ahead.
Like a Newsies themed NPC live stream.
Oh, you would love that. Some other semi-viral TikTok moments that came out of Newsies. There was a bootleg clip of them doing King of New York that got close to 1 million views.
Oh yeah.
And all the comments were, "Has the director gone to see Hadestown?" Everyone was so
Hadestown's
shocked by it.
different.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know Hadestown. We've discussed this.
Hadestown's...
No, I think they do something with the lamps.
Yeah, they do, I think.
And so they were like, oh, they got inspiration from that. But I was just like, guys. And then there was a TikTok that got 1.5 million views where a girl was talking about changing her Hinge settings to match the Newsy.
That was quite possibly the most iconic part of the entire Zone 4 run. Because first of all, I wouldn't do that if I was in Zone 4 anyways. Especially not in Wembley. If I was in Wembley, I'd start expanding my borders.
Yeah.
But even worse at Newsies.
Yeah, they would do live streams of the boys in their dress. Oh yeah, the Newsies tag on TikTok has 355 million views. McKenny would do live showing the boys in the dressing rooms, therefore making the other Newsies gain popularity alongside him. So I know his friend Mark has quite a bit of a fan base.
That's one of the M's.
Again, I don't seek it out because I'm not 16.
Yeah. I do remember do you know what? To be honest though,
it seems like a rerun of what happened the first time, where like everyone picked a random Newsie in the background to become obsessed with and just like did.
Yeah. McKinney was Jojo, by the way, who's actually like a kind of known Newsie.
Like a featured
like people
Newsie.
I wouldn't say that. A known Newsie.
But no, it wasn't like people going to bat. It was the same thing like that happened before, where it wasn't like people going to bat over like, I don't know, Jack Kelly or Crutchy.
People weren't doing that anyways. They were going over, who did I say earlier? Fucking squat.
Yeah. It was like people going to bat over those Newsies again. And it was very nice to see. I was like, I'm so glad that the youth are learning their history finally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, on Tumblr there is a lot less chat of the West End run, and it's just a lot of people being like, "That's
it's not in the West End."
Zone
Do that
4.
line again. Do that line again. It's not in the West End.
On Tumblr there was a lot of chat of the Zone 4 run.
Yeah.
And it was just a lot more people who used to be into Newsies like reacting to it and being like, "That's sick."
Yeah, I'm gonna be so real. I talked about them earlier. Those people who were like my first friends, who I met through Newsies, I made a post on Tumblr, and it was just a picture of like our seats or something, and I was like, holy shit, I'm seeing Newsies. And they didn't talk to me, but they liked it. I think I'm always going to be positive towards Newsies just because of that experience. Yeah. Like it being my first proper thing to like actually make me friends.
Yeah. I think it slaps. Mine's
It's
worse
so
too.
good. It's so good.
Um,
You know, I will say though, I think the one downside that I saw to the TikTok thing, because
mhm.
genuinely, like social media presence does so good for shows.
Yes, 100%.
It's honestly just this one TikTok I saw, but I feel like there's probably more of it.
Hmm.
And it was this person who clearly had seen the show a few times, probably a lot of times.
Yeah, I saw someone travel like abroad from like Ireland to go see it.
Ireland's hardly
No, but like
abroad.
multiple times.
Like an
They're like
hour.
my final trip to go see Newsies. I was like, where
Yeah,
do you
that's a
get
bit
money
insane.
from
But
this? Like
I think
it,
especially because it wasn't even a long enough run to like book in advance.
yeah, it kind of garnered that same effect of how many times can you go see Newsies?
The Heather's effect.
The Heathers
Which
effect.
we'll talk about more in a second. Fucking
Anyway,
Heathers. I'm
what
so
were you
happy for
saying about
those
that TikTok?
It was this one girl who clearly stage door the show at least a few
Oh, we're
times.
literally about to talk about the stage door.
Yeah. But it was a TikTok, and I don't know if that actually happened. But she was saying that, oh, she made fun of one of the guys for missing his cue,
Yeah, I
like all the
think I
time.
saw that. Like,
And I was
we'll
like,
make fun of him today, we'll make fun of him
yeah,
tomorrow.
it was that exact one. But I was like, if I was in a show and I missed my cue,
And some
not
14-year-old
once,
came
not
to the
twice, but
show.
multiple times, and every single time, someone who was meant to be my fan was like, "Fuck you! You missed your cue. You're so stupid."
You missed your
That
cue.
is definitely not what they said, and it
No.
wasn't in that tone. It was like, "Oh, nearly missed you today, probably." Like it was a joke. I was like, that would piss me off.
I mean, I saw also someone being like at the stage door and running into and seeing McKenny and Mark, and one of them like running off the other and being like, "We've got to go, our Uber's here," and then being like, "Haha, such a funny, chaotic moment." It's like, no,
Yeah.
these people are
Should we
just
say our thing?
okay. So we're gonna
I
start
don't think it's
about it
going
now.
back there. But
Okay, so they posted to something on like Twitter and I think on TikTok, but I saw on Twitter because I was just scrolling their Twitter to find anything
mm,
interesting. And it was like, let me see if I can show it to you quick, just to get you a vibe of what it is. It's like the
okay.
type of actors at the stage door thing, like fully just showing off where the stage door is and like how
I
it is. So
respect the actors and their dedication to the bit.
started playing. Yeah.
Um, like I don't think it's a like I think in most theaters and Trivial Park isn't any different. The
Mm.
stage door is very obvious. Like it literally has a massive fucking sign of stage door.
And like it's the way you go back to the tube station.
It is literally like we walked past it both times we went. We didn't stop because I don't know, post-pandemic we haven't done a stage door.
I have, but that was an
Yeah, when
exception.
you were in New York.
Yeah.
So that because I would stage door if I was in New York.
I did for Beetlejuice.
You should have. I don't think it's like a bad thing to point out where it is, and I don't think it's a bad thing. We've definitely said. I don't know if this got cut, but we definitely said this when we were talking about barrel weed. It's not a bad thing to
I don't
stage
know what
door.
I cut and what I put kept in with Barrett Bumblebee because true fact, we got off about the Barrett situation for like half an hour
Yeah,
and like 25% was about the actual situation. The other 25 was us talking about running into Android Webber in a Starbucks.
that was important context.
We haven't run into Android Webber in a Starbucks.
We haven't. We have seen him now, so we're getting close.
Anyway, continue.
But no, I think stage drawing is fine. I think it's fine that they do it. I think it's fine that it's like a big thing, especially for who the Newsies fans are. Because even when it first opened on Broadway, it was like 14-year-old girls.
Mhm.
And it's still 14-year-old girls now. And that's fine. Because that's who I was when it opened. And whenever I see it, I feel like a 14-year-old girl.
And that's who
I
like
think
when we went to go see it for the first time, it was like you were a 14-year-old girl when this first came around, and now you're doing it for your 14-year-old self.
yeah. I think it's the thing. I think it's not just a Newsies problem. I think Newsies is just you see it the most because of how big it was on social
You
media.
think that what we saw with our are we going to say what we saw with our own two eyes?
I think it's closed there now.
Yeah, we can say it. Anyway,
Least.
okay.
I was just going to say that I think it's more of a wider problem about theatre and stage door etiquette, which isn't our place to talk about. Well, it is our place. But I don't want to talk about it too much because it's basically just going to be us complaining, being like, you have to be proper when you're in a theatre and you can't be like friendly with. It's going to be parasocial if you're friendly with the actors at stage door. But like, it's just going to be us complaining. So
It's
I'd
just
rather
going to be
just say,
everything that we've said like before.
yeah.
Um,
I think there is a problem with that stuff, but we're not going to say anything new to that.
We're not
We're
gonna
not
add
going to
any
bring
new
anything.
ones,
Yeah,
so we're not gonna talk about it.
talk about
No.
ourselves instead.
So
Come on, Esme,
when
tell
we
them what
were
we saw.
last walking out of Newsies, we were just kind of walking on down the road. We were talking about how much we loved New. No, we were talking about Concorde. We were talking about the Concorde plane.
I was talking about the Concorde plane. I was like, I really like the
I
Concorde.
really miss the Concorde plane.
Like, I wish I could get to New York in like an
4
hour on the
hours.
Concorde.
But we couldn't because it's too unsafe. Anywho, and
Like,
this
we were
guy's
talking about the Concorde.
bottle of water.
Actually make the story so much better. So I thought we were talking about the show like
No.
normal people.
No,
We were talking about the Concorde.
So we're walking down the street, and like the outside of like the fit that there's like a fence, and then there's like a door, and then there's like the theatre, but you can't really tell it's theatre. You can't tell if it's the theatre or if it's the college right next door.
Yeah. But there's like a key bit for the stage door after the show.
Yeah,
And we pause our conversation about the Concorde and we say, wow, that's the queue for the stage door. That's crazy.
I don't really
Anyway.
discuss that. How
Yeah, I was
sick
like, we're not doing
Concorde
that.
could
We
be.
weren't gonna anyways, stop for the Concorde.
And we're walking, and then this guy like hops out and like tries to hop the fence, but his water goes rolling down the pavement.
No, I don't even notice that first. I just notice that this water bottle falls in front of us and starts rolling towards the road.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I'm thinking, wow, that sucks. I'm gonna keep walking because it's like 10 p.m. and we're in Wembley and we're talking about the Concorde. So we're prime targets for anything right now. Because everyone else, all like 200 other people from the theatre are in that queue for the stage door.
We're like,
And we're leaving.
it's like leaving a gig at Wembley Stadium.
But worse, because people don't stage door after a gig.
Anyway,
At least not at Wembley Stadium.
No,
Have
anyway.
stage door after a gig.
anyway,
This water bottle rolls like across the pavement and it's heading towards the road in front of us. And then we notice this guy trying to jump the fence.
yeah, and he's got
And
like
I'm
his
gonna
backpack on.
Yeah, I'm gonna be so honest, guys.
Looking
Looking back, it was obvious that was just a newsie escaping.
it was just like a newsie on the run.
He was
it
just
was a
trying to
child
escape.
on a night out.
I genuinely thought that this was like a 16, 17-year-old kid who was the bottle was not water,
It was
but like
vodka
some shitty vodka
that
mix.
they stole from their parents' cupboard.
Yeah, and they were like gonna go and get because I've in uni a lot. I've gotten drunk on the train to get into town.
but
I was
also
like, oh, he's
like,
clearly
but also
he's
like,
just drinking. He's gonna pre on the train. He's gonna meet up with his friends in Central and go to some shitty club that won't check IDs,
but kids in
as
kids
everyone
in that
who grew up in
area,
London did.
Kids who in that area would drink in with their backpacks on.
Yeah, I was like,
Like,
oh, he's
Their
Well,
backpacks
honest, other thing.
are like their tortoise shell. They can't be without their home.
I was like, maybe he's just going to like a sleepover with his friends, and he doesn't want that awkward moment that every like year 10 is when you leave the house clanking.
No, so we were just like walking, save this Newsies water.
So it starts rolling. I put out my foot and I stop it and I pick it up for him and give it to him. And he's like, thanks. And then he runs across the road. There was a bus coming. He narrowly missed it.
Yeah.
Runs across the road. And we're walking. We talk about the Concorde.
About the Concorde.
I don't know. We finish. I'm pretty sure we then kept talking about the Concorde after this. But we like paused and Esme was like, that's Newsy, wasn't it? Like,
Get to
wasn't
the
Newsy,
station.
We're
Like,
yeah.
It
It was like 5 minutes later, we'd walked to the station talking about the Concorde. We're like scanning in. We scan on the wrong thing, so we're about to pay more than we should.
Yeah.
And
I
Esme
don't know
like,
where that buzzer is. Nadia told us about.
I haven't been to Newsies since. I haven't been to Wembley since. So
No. We'll have to look for it when we go to Arras.
yeah. Hold up the entire queue of people trying to get in and be like, hold on.
The Swifties will kill you.
Like, no, I'm not paying more than I fucking should. Yeah, we finish Concorde, we get to the station, and Esme's like, it was a newsie,
right?
like trying to escape the stage door. I was like, oh my god, that definitely was a newsie.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think the point of that entire conversation and us talking about the Concorde was that I've stage doored a lot since I've been a kid.
Yeah. I've stage doored a bit less, I think.
Recently. I've stopped recently, like since the pandemic, because I just don't find it as fun anymore.
There's
And again,
always
the
that thing
etiquette
of like at
problem.
the end of the day, like I don't want to get an actor sick and bringing a whole production down. Like even though there's no
Yeah,
way of proving that that's you, it still
yeah,
feels like I want to have the separation of my life almost.
yeah. I also think it's like a growing up thing and an etiquette thing.
Yeah,
Not like that I think I'm better than other people who do stage door, because I know tons of people that are still stage door, but it's
like
just
your
I don't want to
friend.
do it anymore. Yeah, I just don't want to do it anymore, and that's fine. But the thing is, when I did stage door, you would still have actors who would walk out of that stage door, and you'd be like, "Oh my God, can you sign this?" And they'd be like, "No, I'm really sorry,
Or
I have
there'd be a
to get
security
home."
guard there being like they're not stage drawing, like make way, let them leave.
Yeah. Well, and this has happened at things I have stage doored more recently, like small gigs and stuff, where a security will come out and be like, "They're not coming out anymore, guys. Sorry."
Leave.
They're just, leave, and you leave. But I think the thing is that if someone has to jump a fence to avoid people stage dooring, I don't think that's fair.
I don't think you should. I mean, maybe he just wanted to jump a fence, but
And
he.
I can if he did, I can fully respect that because I would jump a fence too if I just finished Newsies.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think that was the point of that entire conversation and talking about the Concorde and all of that was basically to say, and this again, this isn't a problem with UKZs at all. It's just a problem with how we treat actors nowadays. And I think it's because of social media. And that makes me sound like a boomer who's gonna be like, it's those damn
Boomer,
phones.
you literally just told me a moment ago to be more chronically online.
I did, and I stand by that. But I don't know. It's parasocial.
Yeah,
That's all I'm gonna say. I will leave it
yeah.
at that. The thing I hate about UKZs
Are we ready to talk about the Heathers effect?
is the fucking Heathers effect. And
Mind
you would
that.
be like, what the fuck is the Heathers effect? Good question.
So let me triple check their website. But the last time I checked it, which was like a couple weeks ago, like last week, yeah, it is
Fuck's sake.
saying Newsies, the award-winning musical. Bye for now, but not forever. News coming soon. Hashtag Newsies forever. But you can buy their
I
merch.
get the hashtag because that's a lyric from the show.
That is a lyric, and
That's
that's been
fine.
that lyric has been used since the original Broadway run.
Yeah, that's fine. My problem is, I literally, the only reason we saw it a second time and that we booked in advance and paid more than we usually would have,
Yeah,
again, not significantly more, the tickets were like 30 quid each. No, 36
yeah,
quid each. So almost 40 quid.
yeah.
And I got a Santa Fe sour. So paid money to be
We
there. More than
went
we
out of
usually
our
would
way
at a
to go see
production.
it.
Yeah, like the production we between us two we've paid the most for is probably
25?
Phantom.
Yeah, no, it probably was
So
Phantom.
Phantom because we couldn't get cheap seats, so we got like 40
I
quid
mean,
ones,
I'm
which
not
is still
gonna
quite
lie,
cheap.
I don't want to know how much money I've spent on Heathers, but
That's true, but again, the Heather's effect. Basically, the reason we went to see it a second time and the reason we paid more than we usually would to see a show, especially one in Wembley, was because it was like a week before closing. And we were like, we love this show. We have to see it one last time because we love it. We want to see it. And
I
then,
want to appreciate it.
yeah. And then the night of closing, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I was checking TikTok or something, or like
No,
Twitter.
it was like a talk back, like fan night, like the day before it closed, being like Newsies is gonna go away for a bit and then it's gonna come back.
Yeah, and I was like, sure, because the thing was, they had already said that they had recorded a cast album.
Yes, yes.
So I was like, maybe something like that. Maybe they're gonna release a video, like they're gonna come back in that sense.
Mm.
Fine. And then I think it was a TikTok video, and it was someone being like, "Come on, we have to leave. Newsies finished." And they're like, "No, we can't leave. They haven't announced that they're going on tour yet." Oh wait, they have.
Yeah, they have.
And I was like, "You're kidding." Because I get a tour is not the same as like a solid production,
Yeah.
but also neither of us live in London most of the time. We're both at uni in other cities.
Yeah.
Cities that for at least one of
Have
us a tour
theatre
will come
scene.
to. Yeah, like a tour will go there.
Yeah.
And it's just
Unless it's the
it's
Bonnie
really
and Clyde
annoying
tour.
this it's really annoying this thing of shows being like, oh my God, we're gonna close, we're gonna close. This is the last time you'll ever get to see us. Come
Buy
right now, come this week.
tickets and
Buy
then
tickets
like
right now. And then being able to hike up those prices because of demand. So you're paying like 50 quid to go and see a show because you're like, oh, well, it's going to close in a
this
week,
is
so I
my
have to
last
go and see it.
chance. Let me go see this.
Yeah. And then instead of closing, it says, actually, we're extending for another 3 months. And the other fucking show that's
the last thing I want to bring up with Newsies is the strikes. So as we said earlier, there is a actors and writers strike happening at the moment simultaneously. It's very historic.
Support them very much.
Obviously that goes without saying, but Newsies is all about
I know
striking.
we just talked a lot about Disney and how they've made a very good thing.
Now
Disney
let's
is
talk
one of the
about
strucken
Disney.
companies.
Let's talk about now how
So fuck
Disney
them.
is fucked. So for Moscow, who wrote the film Newsies, he said the movie's failure didn't change anything about the magical experience and thinks it's wild that Disney released such a progressive story about unionizing. The massive corporation has a history of being anti-union.
Which we've said a lot.
Yeah. We've said, because Bob Iger, who's the head of Disney, said to NBC Squawk Box, there's a level of expectation that they have. It's not realistic. And they are adding this to the set of challenges that this business is already facing. Frankly, it is very disruptive. My brother, that is the very nature of strike action. That
exactly.
Anyway, Bob Iger's an idiot.
I think the other thing, which is the terms the strike is settled on in Newsies are very weak. It's quite literally they agree to the new price under the idea that if they don't sell the papers, they will get them bought back so they don't lose money. Quite literally, this is still a profit for the company.
Yes.
Through negotiations, the company still makes a profit. They still get the money they want.
Yes.
Under the idea that they might sell more papers, so they might get even more profit. And then also, this isn't really related to the strike, but they also get a new illustrator because they hire Jack.
Anyway,
like the strike is settled on very weak terms, and currently, the actual strikes that are going on, Disney refuses to even negotiate.
Yeah, Disney are the reason why this is being so held up because they're just thinking.
If you took the terms of Newsies and the ideas that News put forward to be realistic at all, which it's not, Newsies, Disney should settle down with these strikers and say, okay, what are you thinking? Like, how much money do you want to be paid? Why is what we're paying not enough? How can we compromise so that we as a business don't lose a significant amount of money and we also don't keep this strike going for like 10 years because we are hurting your business too?
Yeah. So one of the things that actors and writers are fighting for at the moment is residuals. And in support of the strike, Julian Guzman put out on his Twitter, which will be linked, saying, fun fact about the Newsies movie that we filmed in 2016. Disney didn't pay us residuals for nearly 3 years. And when we finally got our checks, they were less than what I had made working retail in New York City.
It's just genuinely ridiculous.
I just felt like it was important to say this at the end.
Like, I know I just said a thing about like, oh, Disney should sit down and compromise with the strikers. They should definitely sit down with the strikers. I don't think the strikers should compromise. I think what they're asking for is more than fair.
It's so valid. It's insane.
Fuck Disney. Fuck all the other strucken corps.
Yeah.
SAG-AFTRA strong.
Exactly. So that is Newsies. Done.
That's Newsies. To make it clear, we love Newsies. Newsies is great.
We just don't
support
like
the strikes.
We just don't like
Disney.
Disney
support
as
the strikes.
a corporation. Join us next time for 6.
Next time. Support us. And together strong.
We will watch the Joe Hansen movie if someone actually pays us though. That deal is still ongoing forever.
And honestly, that is more work for me. Because I believe
the psychological damage that it will do to Nell's brain.
We might have to take a break after we watch it. Because I just won't be able to do anything.
Like, it would just be like, that will be the week I have to get on Karis.
Oh, yeah. We can do next to normal then.
And then I'll need a week off.
Another Phantom.
I'll come back
Phantom and we do Love Never Dies.
I'll come back and it'll be you, Martha, and Toby sat around going, so Sierra Bogas.
Norm Lewis. Anyways.
I'll come back and it'll just be rebranded as the Phantom Podcast.
Please, I'd do anything.
Anyway, we will see you next week for 6.
Bye.
Bye.